Yo, what's up? My name is Petrowski, and today we're going to be talking about what Pokemon got moved in the tier list changes of December. Basically, as you can see here, literally nothing got moved. They will be keeping an eye on Porygon Z, though, through December. Now, there is a ton of stuff. This is a discussional forum, so there was a ton of stuff talked about that I kind of want to go over. If you're just here for tier changes, that's it. Nothing's changing, and then Porygon Z will be watched through December. That's the basics. But there's a lot of theoretics and a lot of discussions that I want to kind of go through in this forum because I think it's really interesting. So first things first, let's go ahead and go back to page 1 of this forum, the initial post by Munya. So he's saying nothing's going to happen, nothing changes, but if there were a new season, things actually would have changed due to percentage, like usage, due to percentage of Pokemon used. So we're going to go ahead and look at that information because I think it is so interesting. So, for those who don't know, to my understanding, I could be wrong on this as well, Pokemon change in tiers based on usage every new season, which I think is every 3 months. But other than that, they can get moved around quickly or quick banned in regards to the tier council. And the tier council is kind of a collection of high-level players and moderators and staff all selected and tested over a period of time that contribute to balancing the game. So let's go ahead and look at the potential changes. That these are not real changes. I want to preface that as much as possible. These changes are not happening or did not happen, but these are theoretical changes that would have happened if it was a new season, which I think is really interesting. So Torkoal going up to OU is so interesting to me because that means that Sun is that powerful to where people are playing. Like Sun is powerful enough in OU where people are playing Torkoal there. That blows my mind. That's really interesting. I think Sun is a really cool weather, and it's usually like considered not a great weather. It usually barely hangs on in the top 3 is kind of the thing. It's usually rain is really good. Rain's the best. Sand is pretty good, and then sun is like still a good weather, but it like barely hangs on in that top 3. And then hail is considered the worst. That's really cool though. I know I love that to be able to see Torkoal possibly moving up to OU, or he would have moved up to OU. That is so insane. Aerodactyl, I'm honestly surprised by. I think Aerodactyl is surprisingly underpowered. I don't know why. Every time I play with Aerodactyl and every time I play against Aerodactyl, he feels so weak. I don't know if it's because of the teams that I happen to use or the Pokemon that I happen to use. I have never had a problem with an Aerodactyl in my entire life. This Pokemon feels very surprisingly weak. I don't know why. His attack base power is like 105, but it just feels so weak for the tier. Like his damage, he's obviously very fast, and that's a huge strong suit. And being able to set up stealth rocks at a very huge pace and be like a focus sash lead is really huge. But I don't know, he just feels not useful. Down to so Heracross actually would have moved down to UU, and he just got moved up to OU. And as soon as he got moved up to OU, I talked about how I think he like wasn't powerful enough for OU. But a lot of people are like him there, and a lot of OU players are saying he's good there. So that's just my personal like. I don't play OU, so I'm totally out of my depth there, and I do say that with a huge grain of salt. And this is my favorite list. This is chef's kiss. Blaziken up to OU. Praise the heavens. This change gets talked about a ton in this thread, and I'm so happy for it. I would absolutely love to see Blaziken get moved to UU, please. And Typhlosion. Typhlosion's a very uninteractive Pokemon. Toxicroak is interesting. I don't know how I feel about the Toxicroak change. I've only played against Toxicroak a couple of times. Swords Dance Toxicroak is pretty good, but I don't think he's like. I've never thought of him as broken or overpowered. But Blaziken and Typhlosion, yes, I agree. This is a really good change. So Typhlosion just comes in nowadays with Choice Scarf and Eruptions, and just Eruptions through the entire meta, like literally like a gym run. It's insane because no Pokemon can tank the Eruption. Like I swapped in a Quagsire into him, which is 2 times resist to Typhlosion and 252 HP EV trained, and I think it was Sassy. So it was like it was 31 special defense, like very specially defensive. And it took my Quagsire from like 192 HP to like 62. So it like absolutely obliterated it. Like I was just done. I could not save swap into it. It was pretty insane. Anyways, even though I know Quagsire is pretty low base special defense, but I was surprised that it did that much damage. That is pretty insane by resisting 2 times. That shouldn't happen in like the NU tier. That's like a UU to OU thing where you're pushing through resists to that extent. He wasn't set up. There was no sun. I don't know. Pretty insane. Pretty much choice scarf and not specs. Anyway, yeah, Blaziken I would love to see. Toxic Perk I'm surprised by. Typhlosion and Blaziken, please get them out of my tier. Please get these Pokemon out of UU or out of NU. A lot of people talk about how UU and NU just don't have participants and don't have people playing right now, dude. And I will tell you, like, personally, I can't stand queuing for NU right now. It's not fun, dude. I hate it. I hate queuing for NU right now because the meta is not even just the meta, but the tier is so unbalanced, and I talk about this all the time, and people always say this would make the queue times worse, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it might save the queue times and make them better. It's a big risk, though, so I understand not wanting to go for this risk, but I think adding RU or PU as a tier, or maybe both of them, would be it's so important, dude. The fact that NU is so overloaded on Pokemon, and I just don't want to queue for NU because the power difference and the power like level discrepancy is so insane on Pokemon that I can't play. So like I just can't play certain Pokemon. It's insane, and it makes the tier unplayable, and it makes it not fun. You have to like NU has become similar to OU where you have to play meta, which is like insane. Like I don't want that for NU because the power discrepancy is so huge. It's unfortunate. Anyways, Typhlosion and Blaziken being gone, I would love to see. Down to NU. These are really cool. I don't like Electrode in NU, only because of a certain set. Screen's Electrode is really annoying. I think certain Screen's Pokemon are fine in general, and if you're having an issue with them, you should look for a Pokemon to counter them, like Defog, Rotom, or putting Defog on like Golbat or some sort of Defog Pokemon. Or something of the sort. Or I slot Brick Break on my Rapid Spin War Turtle to be able to break screens that way, which I think is a really cool, underrated method. But Electrode is really annoying because he has Taunt. He's very fast, obviously. Very fast Pokemon, one of the fastest in the game. And he can taunt you and then set up screens. And it's just really annoying. And then he like explodes on you usually. He's just or like Teleport. He's just a very annoying Pokemon. So he's probably fine in NU. He's really not fun to play against is my main thing. The fact that he has Taunt in the screens is the huge thing. Most Pokemon don't have Taunt plus access to screens. Okay, anyway. And Explosion / Teleport. He has like everything. On to Gligar and Rhyperior. I would love to see Rhyperior in the tier. It's a little spooky, and a lot of people are saying in the comments like he's shown to be too powerful for the tier, and I've never played with him in the tier, so that's me speaking out of my depth again. So take that with a huge grain of salt. I would love to see it though. I love Rhyperior, and I think he's a really cool Pokemon. I think he's balanced enough for NU to where he is like so weak to special attacks, like his special defense. He's a very powerful Pokemon, but his special defense is so weak. He has a clear weakness, and as long as you understand how to exploit that clear weakness and have some sort of way on your team to exploit that, it should be pretty easy to. I don't see how it would be an issue to destroy through him. Like if someone brought in a Rhyperior, I should be pretty safe to swap into like Serperior and just throw up a Giga Drain and be able to like destroy him. It shouldn't be an issue. But on to Gligar. Gligar is interesting. Eviolite Gligar is really powerful. Electrode and Gligar, Electrode I don't really want to see personally, but I understand if it comes to NU. Gligar, I think maybe it's the same boat. Maybe it could be an NU. But it's Eviolite Gligar is very powerful. It's very bulky. It can set up Swords Dance. Have really strong toxic stab moves and spread toxic, but toxic has become such a less powerful status move nowadays. I feel like burn is just like the prioritized status move by far in competitive play. Being able to have physical attack damage is unreal and very important. But I don't know. This is all really interesting. So this is all the stuff that would have made the cutoff. I think this is so cool. I think this is really interesting to see, and we'll see how this changes by the time the seasons do roll around. I really hope that Blaziken and Typhlosion get banned out of NU. The Pokemon are insane. Typhlosion's uninteractive and too powerful for the tier, and Blaziken's just flat out too powerful for the tier. Now, the main argument for not moving Blaziken, which I see in this thread a little bit, is that there's not really any good fighting types in the NU tier. and it kind of leaves a huge open slot for that, which is fair. NU definitely struggles with fighting types, and I fully agree with that, and I fully understand. The main other fighting types without Blaziken that we have are things like Hitmonchan, things like Hitmontop. Hitmontop is very solid, but it's usually not a very big like offensive threat. It's usually more of a defensive threat that can also do some decent damage. So it's interesting. But I do think that fighting type makes up for it in the fact that there's a lot of special sweepers in NU that can slot in things like Focus Blast or Hidden Power Fighting and do pretty well. I think that fighting is a generally really well slotted in move. Also, I would love to, dude, we have we have Machamp. Machamp is a great Pokemon. Machamp is so underrated. I would love to see Machamp come back into the meta, dude. They talked about in one of these comments in this thread. There's so many Pokemon in untiered that absolutely cannot shine because of Pokemon like Blaziken just being the best. Like, why? Okay. We should remove Blaziken because currently it is the best fighting type Pokemon in the tier by far. And the tier does lack fighting type Pokemon. But if we remove Blaziken, I think a ton of other fighting type Pokemon will move up in the ranks to fill that role. Things like Hitmontop, things like Hitmonchan will see more reasonable play. Machamp could come into play. Slotting in Focus Blast on things like Exceldor would be cool. Like, there's a lot of cool things you can do. And I feel like Blaziken just really limits them. And this is okay. This is the next really interesting point of contention in this kind of thread or in this thing to read about. So this, as a TLDR, is basically talking about the tier council has a quota to meet to be in the tier council and commit to that role. They have to play at least one match per day of the month. They don't have to play one match every day or play like 30 matches in one day. But let's say there's 30 days in the month. They have to at least play 30 matches throughout that month. And around half the tier council, or a lot of the tier council apparently, did not meet that quota this month. Or last month, so November, which is really interesting and also really scary. It shows that people in the tier council don't even want to play PvP because of how unbalanced it is and how broken it is at the moment. I'm very biased. I'm obviously a very huge NU player, but I feel as though a lot of the unbalance from PokeMMO PvP stems from NU being like the core, the base of it being so broken, dude. I feel like we need to fix NU before we can move forward on anything else, but that's literally obviously the most biased take in the world, and I totally acknowledge that. Okay, and then Captain Baklava, who's a longtime PokeMMO player, respected longtime PokeMMO player, kind of calls him out, and he's like, so in 2 months of play, members did not play enough games. This is interesting. I don't love this reasoning. Not sure why you count November as a holiday month because of Thanksgiving. I think it's fair to count November as a holiday month, but that's just, obviously, I'm an American. I celebrate Thanksgiving. So, once again, just me. I think people are plus it's just generally holiday times. So, the reason he brought that up was because Munya kind of used it as a reasoning to not punish the tier council players for not playing their 30 games. He talked about how he's not going to punish any of them for not playing their 30 games, but he is going to not allow them to vote in any tier changes, which is pretty standard, pretty fair. We can look through this. Okay, I want to get through another. Okay, this is maybe one of the best posts in the thread from Double JJ and Double J. So JJ is one of the longest standing PokeMMO players that I'm aware of. I always remember him and King Bowser back in the day, like 2013, kind of ruling over PokeMMO PvP. I think the team that they were in was called Lyle. Lyle was always the biggest team back in the day. And was really big in the TeamSpeak as well. But anyways, I want to talk about his great post. I think it's a really good post. So basically, he's like, we all want transparency, and Munya has done a surprising job at sharing that. And I really appreciate that. I think Munya, the staff member, has been incredible about like really being honest about what's going on. And he's basically like, yeah, like the tier council has sucked this past month. Our remaining membership just hasn't been active. We also haven't recruited any new members due to our dwindling team, which is also of concern. So Double JJ hints at wanting to recruit new members, which is really interesting. The system is also hurting as UU and NU matchmaking isn't getting the participation it used to. Yup, resulting in more dramatic shifts as popularity and team cores swing. Parentheses, y'all just copy each other and lack originality, to be honest. True. He's spitting facts. Not wrong. And like, the issue is, I try really hard to to vary. I'm a very non-meta player in PvP, and I try really hard to counter the meta with really interesting, decently powerful Pokemon that can stand up to it. The issue is the meta and the powerful Pokemon in NU right now are so much more powerful than anything I can bring to the table. Like, they're so much more powerful than any sort of counter pick or counter meta that I could possibly build, that it's a hopeless battle. So I myself have just like started queuing random battles, and because it's just like NU is just frustrating. It's just frustrating. I just don't have fun. Every game I queue against for Alligator, Typhlosion, Venusaur, like those three like starters like every game, and it's like, dude, I can't compete against those Pokemon. So overall, it's a good system in my book. We just lack the structure to make it effective currently. Right here, he's talking about the usage automated switching of tiers with Pokemon, because someone was talking about removing that system. I think the system is good. I like the usage system. It's definitely not great, and it'll never be 100% accurate, but that's why we have the tier council to back it up and make it more accurate. So tier council is half dead, game is half dead. Some pretty bold statements from Double JJ. Pretty aggressive, a little negative, but I understand where he's coming from. If we somehow improved both of these, we'd be in a better place. But alas, that is unlikely to happen. I think it is likely to happen, and I think there are a lot of ways that it could happen. So I kind of disagree with some of that stuff, but I understand he's like very frustrated. My suggestion would be to once again recruit active tier council members. I love that. Yes, for sure. And to shift usage to focus on tournament play. I'm sure developers. I don't know if I love this. I don't know if I love the switch to tournament play. I feel like the average player does not play tournament play. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I haven't played enough PvP tournaments, so maybe I'm just, at least, especially recently, over the past year or two, I've not played that many. So I don't want to comment too much on that. I'm sure developers can implement changes to follow usage in tournaments as well. Additionally, changing to a high elo only usage system isn't beneficial either. Yes, of course, as that would narrow usage even more. Yeah, we all recognize that high ladder players tend to just copy one another, and usage isn't that varied. Retweet, dude. It's because, to be fair, it's because the balancing is so bad, because there's, dude, I literally think, dude, I don't know, maybe it's just my crazy, preaching at this point, but I really think that RU and PU will solve all of these problems. The reason that it's so unvaried is because the Pokemon that are at the top are so far above the rest that it's insane. Okay. In the end, though, this rant is meaningless. Having occasional changes is good for the game, and however the TC might be, it is our duty to block broken crap from dropping. We have been successful in that. Have we been successful in that? Question mark. Not really, as those of us who are active, like myself, have a bias towards testing, which takes time and resources, something that everyone at PokeMMO hates to do, even though it's an MMO that's what you're supposed to do. Some little like pessimistic negativity, in my opinion, from Double JJ, and some of these comments, like that last line, and then the TC half dead, game half dead, which he doubles up here. But I do love a lot of his major overarching points, and I think that inviting players to the tier council could be really good, and I think that players do copy each other, and it's a huge issue, and there's just not enough variability. But I think a lot of the variability and originality doesn't just stem from people being unoriginal. I think it really does stem a lot from power level, and it's literally just so hard to be original in PokeMMO, which is really, really sad, because I love to be original. I love to try my own teams, try my own metas, etc., etc. But that basically covers everything, or most stuff, through this discussion that I thought was really, really interesting. I really appreciate if you watched all this video. I'd be very surprised. This was pretty advanced stuff, pretty dry stuff that doesn't. It's a lot of theory stuff that doesn't matter a whole lot unless you like really, really care about this game or really care about thought process. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you watched this whole video, let me know in the comments. Say something like say yo in your message somewhere. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to see more PokeMMO content and stay up to date on PokeMMO content. Also, check out all the links in the description below. Join the Discord linked in the description below. Check out all the playlist links in the description below. You can also consider becoming a YouTube member to me for $5 a month if you really want to support me above and beyond in that extra way. I would really appreciate that. That's pretty sick. And shout out to all my current members. You guys are incredible. Much, much love. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Best of luck. And maybe try to queue some PvP if it's fun. If it's not, I understand though. Or go queue randoms. Randoms is always fun. Have a great one. Good luck.